What's going on, guys? It is Tyson Brown here, back with Serial Killer Nutrition and Sports Talk. So, we are reaching the top of the pyramid today, the little foundations we talk about, and today we're going to be talking about supplements. Now, when it comes to sports supplements, I'm going to talk to you guys about the ones that have been actually researched, evidence-based supplements that are going to be able to work. There are a lot of fringe supplements out there that do not work, and supplement companies of course claim they work. For example, test boosters don't work, things like that. So I'm going to talk to you guys about what actually does work, and basically anything I don't mention, don't fucking worry about taking. Because at the end of the day, if there's no research to back up the evidence they're claiming in human trials, not mouse trials or in vivo studies, actually making sure they're human studies, then there's no point in actually taking the supplement, So the things I'm going to be talking about are, again, being tested on humans and being proven to work. Cool? Now, before I say anything, you as an athlete have obviously, whatever sport you're competing in, you have certain rules you have to abide by. And one of those is taking things that are legal. You don't want to take anything illegal. So making sure the supplements you are taking, one, are batch tested to make sure they're clean supplements. Secondly, going on certain websites based on where you are in the world, each of the country organizations, Australia, UK, they're all going to have their list of things that are banned and approved. Okay, so you want to make sure the things you are going to be taking in your body are, again, like batch test, but also just approved for consumption. So make sure what you are taking is actually legal. Okay, so I do have a few different supplements to get through, and we're just going to start with one of the best first. So caffeine. We all love caffeine for the most part. Caffeine comes in many different forms, caffeine can be put in many different forms, but caffeine, it's by itself, is just something that is obviously going to help give you more energy. Now, the funny thing about caffeine isn't actually, the way it works in the body isn't the way we think it does. It doesn't increase our energy. It actually blocks adenosine receptors in our brain and helps with motor connection, right? To be able to fire things quicker instead of having that fatigue. So usually, after a night of sleep, we start to get a buildup of adenosine in our brain, and the caffeine is going to blunt that effect, okay? Now, caffeine has definitely been shown to be performance enhancing. Basically, between 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight is where it's been shown to be best, okay? So if you're a 100 kilo male, 300 milligrams all the way up to 600 milligrams of caffeine. Just for an idea, usually a shot of coffee contains 80 to 100 milligrams, so that's 3 to 6 coffees a day. Pretty a lot, right? You can go higher, you can go to the 9 milligrams per kilogram mark, which is pushing it hard, but everyone's going to be different. It's going to be dose dependent. Everyone's going to be a slow metabolizer, fast metabolizer, or a normal metabolizer of coffee. So one, you've got to know how you handle coffee, and two, or caffeine in itself, and two, knowing how much is going to be beneficial for you. So the way to experiment with this is start with the lower dose. Start with even just 1 milligram per kilogram. See how you feel, which, again, if you're a 100 kilo male, it's 1 shot of coffee. If you're a small individual like a female and you have a shot of coffee, that's like double to triple your body weight already, more around the double mark, not triple. And so if that's going to be enough for you, cool. But we can build up until we find someone that's a sweet spot. So someone where we're not too jittery, but someone where we're awake, alert, able to fire our brain quickly and get the job done with what we need to do. And so you can also put it in a wave. So as you progress in a mesocycle, whether you're going to be weight training, whether you're going to be training outside, it tapers up, the volume goes up, it gets harder. So you can increase your caffeine dosage as you go up to kind of taper it and see how you go. And then on your deload weeks or your lighter weeks, you drop it back off so you can, what's the word I'm trying to think of here? Blanking on it. So you can make sure that, when you have that week off of coffee, you come back in and your body is going to be adjusted to not having caffeine, then you can build it up again. So it decreases your tolerance, right? So when you have that week off, it'll help reduce your tolerance. Then the week off after, you can start to build it back up again. So kind of, in your peaking phases, increasing that caffeine amount to help improve your performance without negatively impacting it. So making sure you find that sweet spot, and then that way you can taper it through all throughout the year. So slowly increasing over time, drop off, slowly increasing over time. That's going to be the best way to utilize caffeine. And again, caffeine comes in many different forms: gum, pills, coffee, energy drinks, soft drink, like sugar-free soft drink in general. A lot of different ways to have it. If you are going to have caffeine, ideally you want to have it about 60 to 80 minutes before your workout. All right, because that's when the blood levels start to peak about 60 minutes after. You can have it a little bit closer because, again, everyone's going to be different. I have it about 45 minutes before my workout, as I find it's the best time to be able to have it. So you've kind of got to muck around with that too to find out what's going to be best for you. So that's first of all, caffeine. Secondly, creatine. All right, Creatine is something we just have in our body in general. We find it in foods like red meat and stuff, so you can actually get enough creatine from meat if you are a big red meat eater. However, it's a very cheap supplement to be able to take. It's very beneficial for you, especially like in shorter acting things. So certain sprints, just doing like, a set of 10 to 12 in the reps. Something that's more high intensity based, you're gonna notice more benefits on creatine, okay? There are also people who are non-responders. So some people will take this and not feel anything or not notice anything. So just be aware of that. The best way to take creatine, 5 grams once a day, any time of the day, doesn't matter. I have it in the post-workout shake, so it reminds me to actually take it, but you can have it whenever you want, okay? There are very many different forms of creatine that you can buy, but the most simple, effective, and cheapest is gonna be creatine monohydrate. You can buy a huge tub of creatine monohydrate. It's pretty cheap, 5 grams a day, and you're good to go, all right? Very easy one for you to be able to take. But again, there are gonna be people who are gonna be non-responders. How do you know? Usually after 2 to 3 weeks, you'll notice whether you're able to push a little bit harder or the scale may have gone up. Because it can, because creatine is going to be, what I'm trying to think of here, it's going to help absorb water, I guess you would say, in your muscles more. So that way you can have more contractions, be able to recycle ATP more, or quicker, I should say, and have the reserves there. So you will have bigger water stores in your muscles, which means you may be between 300 to 1200 grams, 1.2 kilos, up on the scale. So if you notice the scale doesn't move, you might not be a responder to creatine, to be honest. Another way, like, again, if you don't notice any performance benefits, then you're not going to be a responder and you're probably getting enough in your diet and you actually don't need to supplement creatine, right? Next one, protein. Protein powders, come from vegan and vegan sources, or come from just dairy sources. There's hydrolyzed, there's hydrolyzed whey, there's casein, there's vegan protein powders. There's heaps of different protein powders out there. They all work. Find something that's going to work for you. Some people can't handle the dairy side of things, so they get a vegan protein, or get yourself hydrolyzed protein, which is just easier to digest in the body. Right? So whey protein powder is fast acting. It's beneficial to have after a workout or before a workout, or something where you need a quick hit of protein. Casein protein is slower digesting, and we want to get that around our nighttime periods. So it actually will be slowly released into the bloodstream overnight, so you're never going to be depleting your amino acid pools. Now, is casein essential? Not really. If you're in a deficit, it may help to have it overnight, but in the most part, if you're getting double your body weight in protein and you're in a neutral energy balance, so maintaining your weight, or you're in a slight surplus, you don't need to worry about making sure you have casein, because your body's basically always going to be full, always going to have enough amino acids if you're getting 2 times your body weight in protein, okay? So we've got caffeine, we've got creatine, we've got protein. What else am I trying to think of here? Beta-alanine, all right? Now, beta-alanine is quite a funny one, because beta-alanine is going to benefit people who are doing more longer distant things. So if you're someone who's a boxer or an MMA fighter, and it's minutes at a time of exercise continuously, it's going to help buffer lactate, right, in your body. So what we want to be able to do when we take beta-alanine, I can't tell you the dosage off the top of my head, but beta-alanine needs to be taken consistently, multiple times a day, 3 to 4 times a day, for weeks on end before you start to see a benefit, because we're trying to saturate ourselves in beta-alanine, which means you need to take it daily. Again, from the top of my head, I can't remember what we need to take. It does definitely have beneficial effects, especially with buffering our lactic threshold. So making sure, if you are someone who's doing longer term sprints type of thing, if you're a boxer or someone like that, making sure you do take that, it's going to be quite beneficial. And another reason we want to try and spread the dose out, because the paresthesia, this is the thing that gives you all the tingles, right? And so if you have a big dose of it, you're going to be crawling, your skin's going to be crawling. We don't want that feeling. So making sure that we're going to be able to spread it out over time during the day is going to be the best way for you to do it. And again, you have to make sure you take it daily for at least, I think it's 6 weeks, or maybe even 11 weeks, something very long, before you start noticing a difference, or start to build up, what am I trying to think of here? Trying to build up your stores in your body. So again, this thing is definitely, it definitely helps, but it takes a long time to be able to get there. So you have to be consistent if you're going to take beta-alanine. Another one is bicarb soda. So bicarb soda is also a cellular buffer. Now with bicarb soda, it's a little bit hit and miss, because if you have it, it can actually make you go to the bathroom really quickly. So again, you want to reduce the doses, and then you want to make sure you're having it before you're training. Can't remember the doses of bicarb soda. You'll have to look into that. But again, it tastes terrible. I've had it before. You put it in water. Ugh, it's just the worst, and will probably go straight through you. So lowering the doses, kind of like beta-alanine, and spreading it out. But beta-alanine is going to be a better choice for you. Next is fish oil. Fish oil is It's one of those supplements where it does a lot of things for the body that are beneficial, and so you're just worth taking it overall, especially if you're not getting enough fatty fish in. So with fish oil, we want to be taking a combined amount of 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA, okay? So that's not 1,000 milligram tablet, which you could usually get. You've actually got to look about how much DHA and EPA is in each tablet, and then you'll have to increase the amount of tablets you have to meet the 1,000 milligrams. So for me, I've got fish oil. I can't remember which one I have, but the fish oil that I take, I think I have to take 5 tablets a day. So you have to try and find out what's going to work for you in regards to the tablet that you have and fit that 1,000 milligrams of EPA and combined DHA. Right, next one, vitamin D. Vitamin D, again, very important for bone health, for a lot of things in our body. So making sure, I did touch on this before, when it comes to vitamin D, at least getting 1,000 milligrams a day. In the winter months, going to like 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day. Because most people, whether you work in Australia like us, or whether you live somewhere else in the world, you're probably going to be vitamin D deficient. It's one of the highest deficiencies in the world, along with iron. So making sure, again, go and get a blood test done to check. Otherwise, take a vitamin D supplement regardless. I think it's the best thing to do. 1,000 milligrams at least, up to 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams, depending if you're in a deficient state once you get a blood test done, or just in general, having 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams a day is not going to be detrimental to anyone. It's probably going to help keep our vitamin D levels quite normal. The lighter your skin, the less vitamin D you're going to need. The darker your skin, the more vitamin D you're going to need because of how we absorb it from the sun. And again, the issue with getting the vitamin D from the sun, 1, skin cancer. 2, you can only be in the sun for certain times of the day to actually absorb vitamin D, and it's all based on your like where we are in the world and what time of the month, what time of the year it is. So in colder months we don't get as much sun exposure from the vitamin D, and then also our cover up. If I'm out in a singlet and shorts, that's fine. But if I'm in in winter here, if I'm in trackies, long pants. If I'm in trackies and a long sleeve shirt and I've got a beanie and stuff on, I'm not really going to be getting that much vitamin D. So a supplement is an easy way to go about that. 2 other supplements off the bat that I want to talk to you about. One is beetroot juice, beetroot extract, NO2 boosters, right? Nitrous oxide boosters. So what these actually do is they increase blood flow, okay? So there are certain things like spinach and beetroot extracts that you can get, or you can just go and get some supplements that actually are NO2 boosters, and they just dilate blood vessels a little bit more. They have been proven to work. They help with blood flow a little bit, so those are going to be good ones. And also tart cherry juice extract. Now, tart cherry juice is quite an interesting one because it actually reduces inflammation and helps with the recovery. However, we do actually want inflammation after our training to be able to adapt to it and to be able to make sure that we are progressing. So we don't want to negate the effects of inflammation, which is why we only want to use tart cherry juice if you were doing something with continuous, like let's say a competition, let's say you're playing rugby 8s, right? You're playing continuously throughout the day for like the whole weekend. Maybe it's 4 games on 4 games Saturday, 4 games Sunday. That's when tart cherry juice is going to be important to reduce direct onset muscle soreness or DOMS, aches and stuff like that, and to help you recover and be anti-inflammatory. They're going to be the best time to do it. Same thing again. Let's say you wouldn't, but let's say you're doing MMA and you had 4 matches with MMA throughout the next 2 days. Tart cherry juice extract is going to be the best because during our competition, we're not looking to try and build muscle. We're just trying to win. And so we want to be able to recover after our session, and the best way to recover is with tart cherry juice extract. Cool? So again, this is for a certain time. It's only for when you've got back-to-back things. It's competition time. You need to recover quickly. Another thing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, perfect example. You're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you've got to go across 2 days to see how you can win. That's going to be a good time to be able to take it too. All right? So it's really only for competitions when they're back-to-back with everything. Finally, carnosine. Now, carnosine is another, it's a bit of a fringe one again. Like, there have been some research showing that it works, but the best way for it to be able to work is actually injecting carnosine into you, okay? Otherwise, you're going to have to take a lot of carnosine continuously, again, until we can actually finally get into the cell. So that is a little bit hit and miss. You can look into it. It does have some benefits for some people, but I'm not fully backed on carnosine yet, as just the research shows. So like, again, if the research was telling me something different and it was saying carnosine is definitely proven, I would highly be rating it because at the end of the day, the science says, right? So with that, I'm not really going to say anything else about carnosine. You can have a look at the results if you want. You can go and try it if you want to. You can kind of see how you go overall. But honestly, they're going to be the most important ones. So caffeine, creatine, protein, fish oil, vitamin D, beetroot extract are probably going to be your best ones you can take. Regarding pre-workouts, I think a few people might be asking about pre-workouts. They've basically got the same shit in there. If it's caffeine and it's beta-alanine, you're going to get the tingles from the beta-alanine. You're going to get the improved performance from the caffeine. And if you're doing it in the gym and you feel like you're getting good pumps, that's the NO2 booster. All the other shit they're adding in there aren't going to do that much beneficial things to you. Okay. Also, regarding that, anything I haven't mentioned, again, test boosters, fucking waste of money. Heaps of other things that are just on the shelves, like we don't need to buy them. There's all these things I can talk about. They're going to boost your hormones like testosterone, like I said, or they're going to be fat burners. Fat burners are just caffeine. Or they have so many different supplements out there, and a lot of them are just bullshit that you're paying for. So stay away from the non-evidence backed ones and focus on the ones that work, But again, like I said, these supplements, these things, bar protein and vitamin D and fish oil, which we should be taking all the time, trying to focus on your caffeine timing, your creatine, your beetroot extract, all these things, these are the top. These are the icing on the cake. You have to build your foundations first. You have to make sure you're hitting your macros. You have to make sure you're hitting your micronutrients. You have to make sure you're doing all those things before you get into the supplement side of things. All right? So I hope that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, as always, make sure to hit me up and ask. In the next episode, which I actually should have covered before this, but it doesn't matter, I'm going to be talking to you guys about meal timing, trying to split it out evenly throughout the day so it's going to best suit you and your performance. Until next time, guys, speak to you then.